I guess I'll,
Huh?
I don't know, I'll take that might speak.
Yeah, right, yeah, I'll do this.
Say something profound. Get it started.
Okay. Well, I got to say, it's, so I'm supposed to say something profound, which, thank you again, Linda. You've just been a lifesaver for me this whole weekend, so. But anyway, I just want to say it's great to see some, you know, some old colleagues and friends here today. It's been wonderful to meet some new folks and to see some of the new leadership that's going to be coming along, and that I think there have been so many people come before you that I think you're in a great position right now. I mean, you can sort of be I see this as sort of PIPA 2.0 for the state of Alabama, and you and this group here today, you're the beginning of that, and along with that comes a lot of responsibility, though. And so we heard the commissioner of mental health yesterday talk about, and I would love to hear what she had to say about bringing PIPA back, but also wanting to have all of you come and visit the Department of Mental Health, to visit their offices, and of course also the state legislature. But I don't want us to forget too that there are also many other state departments down there that need your presence. We have the Medicaid agency, I think would love to see you come down and visit, right? We do also have the Department of Corrections. Think of all the people with disabilities in prisons and what's happening to them. Thinking about DHR and adult protection, and how people with disabilities, in some cases, very, very much needed. But I think you can offer a lot to all these different agencies, Department of Rehabilitation Services. All these people with disabilities come in contact. Department of Commerce, employment programs, and economic development. I mean, I don't think there's any. You really can't leave any stone unturned. So there's so many different opportunities that you're going to have, and I wouldn't at this point I wouldn't limit at all what the next step is once you complete this. I think you just need to soak all this in and figure out where your passion lies, and then run with it, because you are as I said, 2.0. You're going to be the future for at least the next 10 years. And so that's a lot of responsibility. And I think it's great that you've all taken on that responsibility. And be thinking too about who the other, those other partnerships out there. This is a great program. I was just thinking this is a great program under, the DD Council, but I'm thinking of all these other people with disabilities who may not necessarily meet that definition of developmental disabilities, and family members who probably could benefit from a model like this. And I think if there's any way down the road, if we're looking, rethinking the future, that may be thinking, I'm thinking that maybe there's some way in which some partnerships could be established to sort of join forces with some other groups as well. And so I think that I think would be a wonderful next step, is to identify who those partners are, because there are people out there who are looking for ways in which they can really make changes in their community. But the way to do that is, as Ed Roberts said, you're doing this through partnerships. And so be thinking well beyond, and also be thinking beyond just sort of disability. I mean, what are things you have in common with other marginalized populations, and the work that I think needs to be done there. So I think there's just so much that can be done that's going to require thinking, I guess, sort of beyond the silos, that others sort of impose on us, and come out of those silos and figure out ways we can all work together to make the changes happen that need to happen in this state.
For me, it's an amazing thing and an amazing opportunity to come here. When I was contacted, I had no idea about this program. So I had to figure out how to share the information so that you could get it across to other people that don't have that experience. I think about how many of us have gone through the battle and frustration, how we can partner together and support each other in continuing to fight that battle. I also think about the networking opportunity here in Alabama. It's now become nationwide. You know, before this weekend, I didn't know who they were, so I was able to do some research and find out who they were. So like I mentioned, before this weekend, I did not know who they were. I didn't recognize their names or agencies. So it's an opportunity for me now to do more research and see how it makes me realize how often people don't get information. So I'm thinking about how we can improve the quality of delivering that information. We need more opportunities to learn and to network instead of being stuck alone. So it's important that we figure out how to share that information, develop some type of system, include different language, different knowledge, have like a system of education, how we can have the history of disabilities, what can be done in classrooms, how we can empower kids as early as possible, have parents included in the discussion before it's too late. They're just not provided with that information, so it's important that we have a place that they can get that education, that information. Especially with this program, how can we incorporate this in the school's curriculum, get that information to parents and different agencies, so that we can start sharing that education before it's too late?
I have some other positive ideas to share. And these are coming from Partners graduates. One of our current grants is something that actually the schools could do immediately, and it's called Ambassadors for Respect. We had self-advocates who wanted to get into elementary schools and teach children not to bully other children. And so we've got a handbook and marketing materials and so forth. And the way it works is the self-advocates, it could be adults or students in transition who've been bullied, tell their personal story. And then there's specific activities like shred the words. So you write down all the bad words you hear about kids with disabilities, and you come up and you put them in a shredder. You write acts of kindness, and then you get a clothesline and you put it up, how will I treat others? There's something called Crush Charlie, Crush Charlene, and it's, again, how would you feel about things? And we have the data. We have all of this information. We give it away free. The second project that came from Partners was Treat People Like People campaign. So our council did a catalog of abuse campaigns, and they're almost all fear-based. You know, like this frightened grandmother in a corner, and she says, I'm scared, and it's her own son in the photograph because he's stealing from her. So we looked at that catalog, and we hired this company, and they said, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to not play on vulnerabilities, but on strengths. And so we've got posters, we've got statistics, we've got a pledge. Alabama can grab it. You could just have it. I'm giving it to you. If that's of interest, it's something we can work on together. The third is we have a self-advocate who really gets along with a U.S. federal judge. And the two of them just play off each other. And it is so much fun. She can't read. And so she presents about herself to continuing legal education courses. Again, it's a whole new audience you can reach, judges and attorneys. And so Judge Frank will sit next to Karen and he'll say, it's a screen with icons, and he'll say, Karen, what's this? That's a ballot box. I vote. And she'll explain how she votes. What's this? I'm in a prayer circle, and so she prays for people, and so she says, tell me, and I will pray for you. Then there was an airplane, and he said, what's that, Karen? And she says, well, I travel. I've been on vacation to California, Colorado, and Florida. And he says, well, you didn't take me. And she says, well, what would your wife think? You know, and so the two of them, and you can see them online. And so opening up the continuing legal education course area would be probably a good idea. Putting people right in front of judges and attorneys, letting them talk about life experiences. And then so that's part of our Disability Justice Resource Center. So we've got ideas like that I would give them away. I give them away to you. Whatever I can do to help your state, if there's something we can work on together, I'm here to help you. Everything we've got, we give away free. So I'm just so glad to be here. I wish Ed were here. All I can do is offer you support. I can't fix your problems because I don't know your state, so you can't write questions about education to me. I can think big with you, but I won't be able to handle things. That's why having the 3 parts of the DD network, plus the independent living centers here, plus all of the mental health, all the resources, the schools are here. I mean, it's incredible. So it's a great group. It's a wonderful kickoff. I know you're happy, Daryl. I can tell. He's finally smiling. It's like he's been the father of the bride and just worried about the wedding. Are we getting through this?
You didn't embarrass him.
Here you go.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Hi, I'm Kim Spangler. I am so excited to be here, and I really just want to thank everybody. The 3-prong stool example I think Nancy brought up earlier really spoke to me because I really feel supported, and I thank everybody for your investment in us. And I can envision myself stepping up on a stool to reach the cookies on the top shelf now, and so I'm thrilled about the potential there. I should warn everybody, I fully intend to take that cookie jar and dump it out for everybody else to reach who didn't have a stool. And so anything and everything, all ideas welcome. Secondly, I'm trying to make connections. I'm trying to figure out how things go from a court case that a parent brings into policy. So I'm eager to learn how that happens, and I hope that we have a chance to learn about how to write a bill and how to get it passed and all that good stuff. So that's it.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lux, Lux. A lot of people misspell it. What can I say? My question is more directed towards Kent. My son's father is deaf. He is a CODA, a child of a deaf adult. He's 18 now, but my big question is, his father is an alcoholic. When I was pregnant with Andy, he crashed the car driving drunk, and it was only him in the car, thank goodness, but the fishing lures hooked into the front dashboard. He was a fisherman. The fishing hooks, the lures, hooked into the front dashboard because they all went flying forward in the crash. Weirdest thing. But my point is, he got charged with drunk driving, and he was put in a therapy program, but because he was deaf. And they refused to get him an interpreter. He was moved down to a misdemeanor charge, and he never got the mental health help he needed. Has this changed any? This was back in 2002. For Alabama, Glencoe, Alabama, to be specific.
Sorry. You got another question for that? Oh, no.
So I just want to make sure that the question you're asking is, do we have mental health service providers that are fluent in sign language here in Alabama? Is that your question?
Kind of. I was wondering, have services improved also?
Okay, yes. We've actually had a lawsuit against Alabama, which set up deaf mental health services here in Alabama. So today we have 5 sign fluent therapists and 8 or 9 fluent mental health interpreters. So they go with clients to hearing professionals. So we have contracts set up all over the state. If a deaf person needs mental health services, I would recommend going to the nearest regional mental health center and requesting accessibility services. You can open up an intake and go from there, and they will partner with either a deaf therapist or bring in a qualified mental health interpreter.
How about in the prison system?
I was just kind of following up with what Jenny was saying. What about in the prison system? I mean, I know that all disabilities, that's a big problem in the prison system, but particularly with the deaf community, how does that affect the prison population? Do they have translators and so forth?
So as Dan just mentioned, prison is another agency, the Department of Corrections. Unfortunately, we cannot cross that line yet. We cannot cross that line for our agency. Maybe the parents or an advocate can contact the Department of Corrections to try to collaborate with the Department of Mental Health.
Hold on here.
I would also like to note that the folks in Nancy Anderson's office, she's still in the back of the room, would love to hear about access issues within the prison system, as that is one of their ongoing issues at this point, that is one of their ongoing engagements at this point. So if there is a specific need within the prison system, contact ADAP.
They're your friend.
Daryl, if I could just recognize a couple of people here. I'd mentioned the Alabama State Independent Living Council, which is a policy body. They're charged with developing our 3-year state plan for independent living and then monitoring that state plan. So we just sort of gone through actually we have a current plan that was been implemented. When was that? Was it this past October? I guess it was this past October. Yeah.
October 1st.
Yeah, and so we have 2 of our, talking about ways in which you can get involved, okay, in the community if you're looking for opportunities. One might be serving on the State Independent Living Council. I know they're looking for members now. Jenny Lux, who actually worked on the planning committee we had in developing the current state plan, and was very actively involved. And so Jenny is now secretary of the Alabama State Independent Living Council, and Dr. Eric Peebles was also on that committee to develop the state plan. And Eric, I believe you're treasurer now, right? Treasurer and advocacy chair. So he's the perfect person in both of those positions.
Thank you.
I also wanted to recognize a couple of my other roles. I serve as chair of our president of the Disability Leaders Coalition of Alabama, which is a multidisciplinary organization that brings our stakeholders from service providers to self-advocates to state policy influencers together to have coalesced advocacy efforts. And I would just like to recognize two of my board members that are here. Dan is my Independent Living Center rep on my board. Thank you so much for all you do, and best wishes on the next step of your journey. And Linda Russo, who you've been hearing from all weekend, is my vice chair. So, you know, the Disability Leadership Coalition of Alabama is present and willing to help and support the newest cohort of partners graduates. We have, Linda serves 2 roles, so, you know, so use this as a point of access.
You have one more.
And then, because Veronica just reminded me, what are the TD Council gave birth to an initiative through one of their Innovative Ideas grants several years ago to a mission that we call Accessible Alabama, and that is where I am leading a comprehensive mission for community integration and affordable, accessible, and practical housing options for people as they with disabilities and those facing increasing limitations as they age. So the DD Council, who is your prime sponsor here, is very committed to promoting the ideals of community self-sufficiency, which I like to call it, because that includes housing, that includes, you know, being able to do instrumental activities of daily living, that includes that kind of stuff. So it gets melded into what I like to call community self-sufficiency.
Thank you, Eric. And you know, we see support and connections all around this room, so we're excited. Any more? You all want to?
When I moved to Alabama, I was really impressed with the mental health system here for providing services for deaf, hard of hearing. I cannot say the same for DD. I'm hoping that down the road, DD will develop better services for deaf, hard of hearing. I would love to see the opportunity for group home development that are designed to provide services for deaf and hard of hearing that have a disability to help them succeed. Maybe we can partner and see if we can make that happen here in Alabama.
You know, we've, over the last, I know Colleen, in her wonderful presentation again today, talked about the how the Medicaid waivers came about. And we're what, now 40 years after, just about, yeah, 40 years after the first Medicaid waiver. 40, yeah, since the Medicaid waivers were implemented. And of course, there's a new community waiver that's being developed here in the state through mental health. And so I think people are expecting a lot of great things from that. But I think there's a fundamental problem we have in our systems, and that is you have to have a, quote, waiver to remain in the community, okay? I'm thinking particularly of people that we serve who reside in nursing homes. Some people of all ages who want to transition from nursing homes back into the community. And so they have an absolute, as long as they meet the categorical requirements for the Medicaid long-term care program, they'll find a spot in the nursing home. You don't have that same kind of right to remain in the community. You may qualify for certain waivers, and if you get, and there has been some progress, I'll have to admit, in some of the waiver programs, but still, you don't have the same absolute right to community-based services that you have for the same rights that you have, say, for going into a long-term care facility like a nursing home. So that fundamentally is a problem in our state and many other states. I mean, you know, we have seen, you know, significant growth in the waiver programs, which has been great. But at the same time, there's still a large number of people who don't have that fundamental right to remain in the community. And that really should be, I think, our starting point in terms of our conversations about major systems change in the state.
On that, just a segue, yeah, the Nursing Home Association is the most powerful lobbyist group in our state. So I said the Nursing Home Association is the most powerful lobbyist group in our state, and they are somebody that we probably need to research a little bit and find out why this is happening, because you know it's a big funding stream for nursing homes. I mean, they have they control a lot. Just as a side note.
Yes, several years ago, and I know we're probably about ready to, Daryl wants to get people on their way, but you know, several years ago, we did work very hard trying to get some, what was called at that time, money follows the person legislation, which would give individuals the right or a choice between home and community-based services or in their own home, or else, you know, if they want to nursing home services. And we thought we had that bill passed, only be defeated at the very last minute. So, but I think we have to keep that hope. We have to keep, you know, because we're seeing things now that we probably never would have thought of 40, 50 years ago. So we need to keep after it, and you're the ones to do it.
And I just kind of wanted to put a plug in too, because I know this is going to be brought up at some of the sessions, but really put a plug in for the community of practice. And I know a lot of you haven't heard that term and don't know what that's all about. You'll learn a little bit more as time goes on. But in essence, community of practice tries to look at the entire lifespan and your entire community, because we know there's never going to be enough money for every person to have every service they need. So you've got to look outside into your own communities and find out what natural supports are out there, how to develop those supports, and that's what community of practice is all about. So we're really excited here in the state of Alabama that we're doing that. This started with about 9 states, then it moved up to 11, and we were part of that 11, and now we have about 15, 20 states maybe that are doing it, so it's still a relatively new idea. But you'll be taught some of that during Partners, and Vonda and I and Daryl and Holly, we're all part of that. And so hopefully you'll learn more about that, because, you know, yes, we want every waiver service we can possibly get, but it's never going to cover everything for everybody.
Thank you, Jonna, for that. And one of the things about it, we just, you know, it becomes real touchy. You know, for those who know that my mom, when she had a stroke back in 2015, if I would have known some of the things that I know now, probably could have done some things a little bit differently, you know, because I had never heard of the Money Fathers person. But that's what we as a group take this information back to our communities. Share this information, get the information out so that everybody will have an opportunity, because if you don't know, you know, we don't know, and it's hard to help if we don't know. And some of us right in our own homes. So this group is going to be so powerful. You know, I can just feel the just going forward, because it's us working together, and we're going to build off of this. And if everything goes the way I want it to go, you know, we're going to be bringing past graduates back, you know, have a time for everybody kind of get together, and we just share information and just networking, because that's what it's all about. And it's been so much information that we've shared, and networking in this group, network outwards throughout the state. And y'all heard Colleen, you know, she's here for us, and she's just not saying that because we've talked Zoom, phone calls, emails, probably, I don't know, I can't even count the number of times. So she's not just saying that to be saying it. You know, sometimes people just, okay, I'm gonna say this so I can get out of here. Believe me, you know, and I love to talk to her because she got tons of information. So you are in a group with a lot of information. So I'm excited. Any more questions, comments? You want to share?
Adding to what Jonna said, starting Monday night, we will, via Zoom, we're going to do an overview of Charting the Life course as it relates to respite, and it will be at 6:30. So if you're interested in it, you can go on the Alabama Lifespan Respite website and register, and I'll send you a link out for that. And also, this is the folder that was developed by the Alabama team, and it has all the resources in it that we've identified for the state.
That's it? Yeah, we can get you all a copy of these. And oh, yeah. 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 Okay. Hold on, I get you, yes.
And then we spoke yesterday, and I think I mentioned it, and I hope Nancy doesn't mind me saying this, but the book that I mentioned yesterday, A Right, Not a Favor, that's also came through a DD grant, and of course ADAP publishes that, and I'm sure it's on the website. Yes, you're exactly right, and I believe Nancy said they'll do their best at the next person meeting to have books here for everybody, so I pass those out coming and going. Those are just wonderful, wonderful books and resources to have.
I want to tell you a little bit about an organization I'm involved in. It's called People First of Alabama. Susan's not here today, but she is a 2000, Susan Ellis, I can't remember. She was 2001 originally. But for some of the younger people of younger students, high school age, we have if you would go to People First of Alabama, and on our website, there's a really, I think, a unique program that had great success, and it's a program that the DD Council supports called Young Emerging Leaders. And as you know or may not know, People First is an organization made up of self-advocates. So it's our board is self-advocates. It is the leadership is self-advocates. Jenny, we've got a few People First, and if you'd like to talk more from a self-advocate standpoint, she'd love to share it. But it's incredible. Eric is a young emerging leader who it was kind of a platform for Eric that's probably one of the reasons why he's here today. So for your younger teens that would like to have a little more advocacy in their communities, your self-advocate, please spread the word. It's an incredible opportunity for our young emerging leaders. And we are also one of the service providers for the new CWP waiver and we have another unique program that Ashley over there, sorry, Ashley, and Eric are, it's called Peer Specialists. So again, that is a self-advocate who would like to gain, interested in some employment. It's an opportunity for them to have some gainful employment. So again, you can learn about that on our website also. But we're excited about the new waiver. It's the first time a peer specialist service has ever been offered I think there's only one other state in the country that has it, and that's in Wisconsin. So, and we're also looking for family navigators also, which is also a paid opportunity. Not mean to, but I just thought I'd take advantage of this time because we want our CWP waiver to be a big success, and I know Terry would be happy that I'm recruiting people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there a way to get everyone to share all the resources that we've discussed over the weekend in maybe an easy format so that we're not losing?
Will this be your project?
Listen, I do not mind doing it. I'd be very happy to do it.
I'm not
joking. If you've discussed or offered a resource here this weekend, if you can email me that link or that information, Jennifer McInerney. I'm on the list. My email is jennifer@carneydye.com. Yes, and CC Linda, and then I can put together a resource of everything we've discussed, even if it's just an email with links to all of these resources, because I think all of us were scrambling to try to write down everything and remember everyone's names, and I think it would just be a really great way to then share that with other families and other parents. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, and on our partner's website. Thank you, guys. I look forward to hearing from everybody in the something.
And to, seriously, you consider what you would want to do for your project. There's a lot of ideas going around. Colleen has tossed out a lot of different ideas. So everybody be thinking about your project.
Daryl has the purple folder in his hand, and I was wondering if he would share with maybe the people that don't know how they can call the Department of Mental Health in the near future, and it should have county by county the resources in those areas, if he would expand on that.
We'll try and get an electronic version of that. Somebody must have one, and yeah. So we will get this out.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions for our panel up here? We've got them up here. Hostage.
Yeah.
Any more questions? We don't bite.
Just thank y'all so very much. We appreciate all of you being here. Thank you. And we loved your daughter during lunchtime. She is so cute. Two daughters, okay, two daughters.
I'd just like to say something. All the videos are available. Partners in Policymaking Alabama has its own Facebook page, so it's totally free. You guys here in this room, feel free to post on it if you'd like to use it. But we went live this weekend, so all the videos for this weekend are already on it. Go ahead and take your phones out if you want to before you leave. If you have any questions about which page it is, I can definitely help you there. This page is your page, so feel free to use it how you guys like. Partners in Policymaking Alabama, everything spelled out.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Okay, all right. Okay, there was a question about the form, so make sure you see Holly or Nancy in the back in regards to your forms that you have to submit. And just keep in mind, you know, this is a unique group, and Melissa may be reaching out to you at some point about something that you may have to do online or by phone, but everyone is here for each other. Any more questions for our panel? Comments for our panel?
Are y'all good anymore? Any other comments?
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. You know, thank you. You know, and I really do thank everybody that's in here, the staff, DD Council staff, the DD Network. Over the last several months, we've worked real hard to get where we are, so we're excited. And we do thank everybody that has spoke, our commissioner, our social commissioner, Graham, our state representatives. We thank God for those who are here to help us kick this off. It's been great. So we do want to make sure that we take this information back to our communities. That's what it's all about. So we thank you all again.